Hi, my name is Jim Reed. I'm one of the home management instructors for the Training Center for the Blind. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to make an eclair or cream puff shell. Alright, so to make a eclair or a cream puff shell, it's the same recipe, just a different shape. The first step is you're going to boil water, butter, and salt together until the water comes to a boil and the butter is fully melted. It's important that the butter is fully melted. Otherwise, if you have solid butter going into your final product, it'll ruin it. So we just have to stand here and wait for this to boil and for the butter to melt. Now obviously when this thing comes to a raging boil, I'm not really going to be able to feel around there to tell if the butter is melted. And since I can't see it, it just becomes sort of a time and instinct kind of a thing. And stirring also helps with that. Also, I cut the butter up into really small pieces. By the way, this is 1 cup of water, 1 stick of butter, and a little bit of salt in this pot. And once this has come to a boil, we're going to add in some flour, and we're going to stir, and it's 1.25 cups of flour. So now that our butter is melted and the water is boiling, we're going to add in all of our dry ingredients, which in this case is just flour, and then we're going to stir. But I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit so I don't burn this. Turning it down to about medium. Add in the flour all in one shot. And then we're going to stir probably for about a minute. What you're looking for to know when you're done stirring is you're going to have a dough ball. Your dough comes together into a ball, and or you're going to have a skin start to form on the sides and bottom of the pan. What I'm doing right now is cooking out the raw flour taste. These pastries don't have a lot of sugar, well, no sugar. They've got nothing really except butter and a little bit of salt. So they're not super strong as far as flavor. So that is one of the reasons for doing this cooking step on the stove here. I can feel that it's starting to come together into a dough. And I'm also checking every so often just to make sure my pan is still centered. If I feel in the pan, I can see there's a skin forming on the sides. I can also feel it with my spoon. So this is coming along pretty well. We'll give it another few seconds. For this step here, I'm going to run the mixer with a paddle on about a medium speed until the steam goes away. So when you're doing this step of putting the flour into the mixer, what you're doing is trying to cool it down so that the next step, what we're going to do is add eggs one at a time. And if you add eggs to this mixture while it's too hot, you're just going to scramble your eggs and cook your eggs, which is not what we want to do. This recipe called for 4 large eggs. I've got medium, so we're going to be doing 6. So we're going to run this thing on about medium speed, adding 1 egg at a time, giving it about 20 or 30 seconds between each egg for it to fully incorporate. And after every egg or two, I'm going to scrape the bowl down to get anything that's stuck to the sides back into the mixture. So the first sign that I know we're there is we've got these dangly, ribbony things sticking off the bottom of this mixer paddle attachment here. I'm just going to use my fingers and clear those out, just so that we don't waste any dough. Take off the paddle, because I'm pretty certain we're there. Now to do this rope pinch test thing here, I've got a little dough between my fingers, spread them apart, and it does make somewhat of a rope before it drops. Alright, so now that our dough has been made on the mixer, the next step is to fill a piping bag and squirt these eclair shells or puff pastry shells onto a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. So I've got a rubber spatula, and I'm just going to scoop and dump, scoop and dump. I'm aiming with my left hand as I scoop and dump with my right, and I'm kind of doing like a scraping motion on the side of the piping bag to get my rubber spatula clean. First thing I'm going to do is just squeeze this batter down so that it completely fills the bag and is right next to the tip, ready to come out. And we're just about there. Now I'm going to give the bag a little bit of a twist just to make it easier to work with. Depending on what you want to do, whether you want to do eclairs, which are basically just a bar, Or if you want to do a cream puff, that's where this next step comes in. If you're going to do an eclair, you pipe out a straight line about 4 inches. And if you're going to do a cream puff, which is what we're doing today, you just do a blob that the piping bag stays in one spot and doesn't move. So I'm going to do about a 4-second count on these. And what I like to do is to sort of cage my hand like this, so like a little spider crawling. And that way I can kind of aim and I can feel the dough where it's going to go on the cookie sheet, as well as I can feel it expanding for the size that I'm looking for. So I'm going to hold my hand there, and I'm going to give it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Twist the bag, come up and off. Move to the next spot. Same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Twist, come up and off. This is a 2-step baking process. The first, they're going to go in for 15 minutes at 425. Then we drop them down to 350 for another 25 minutes. Don't open the door in between cooking. All right, so my 25-minute timer on the second step of the eclairs, which is at 350, just went off. So I'm going to pull one of them out. So wiggly finger, reaching in with a bare hand, grab an eclair, pull it out, set it on top of the stove. We'll give it a couple of seconds. To me, this feels golden brown, nice and crispy, firm. I feel it was really light and fluffy. And so far it's holding its shape. We'll give it a few more seconds to see if that holds true, because we don't want to sacrifice all the rest of them if this one isn't done. It's still holding its shape. It ain't going anywhere. That's solid. It's not moving. So they are all done.
Here at Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired, we provide resources and training to Utah residents who are blind or visually impaired to help them reach their employment and/or independent living goals. To learn more about our services and how we can help, please call us at 801-323-4343.